Hello, today I'll be going over the Essential One workshop. So one of the first things that we need to do is log on to Blackboard. So if this is one of your first times logging in, I would suggest going to the Codwell website. Once you're there, you'll see a window just like this. And on the top of the page, you'll see a tab that says Cougar Apps. So we're going to click on Cougar Apps. You want to use your Codwell NetID, which is your username and password to log in, just how I'm doing right now. Okay, the service that we're using is the single sign-on that we have here at Codwell, and we're going to access the Blackboard app by clicking on that icon, and it'll automatically sign us into Blackboard. So this page that you're seeing right now, this is the home page. And I'm just going to go over briefly what sections you have here. So on the home page, you'll see the most prevalent section is the My Courses section. So you'll see all the courses that you're teaching listed here. And they should be, they should be ready for you to click on. You could definitely organize this by clicking on this little gear icon. And you could group them by term, and by term that means by semester, so like the fall, the spring, and so on. And then you click submit, and it'll rearrange your courses so that's separated by when it was available or is available. This next top section is the My Announcements. So any announcements that you've ever made in any of your courses that you're teaching, if they're very recent announcements, they'll appear here for you to see. And also your students have the same homepage as you do. So they'll also see their announcements that you've made in your courses displaying in this section here. Also, you might see announcements that the university makes, like if there's a snow day and they send a mass campus spread announcement, you might see it listed there too. The second page is the tool section. So again, another way to get to your announcements, to see grades, to see personal information. But something that's very important in this section is the Need Help with Blackboard link. And right here, if you click on this link, I'll do that real quick for you. It's going to take us to a new website, and this is the website that can help you if you're having any kind of technical issues with Blackboard. Something's not looking right, you need some help doing something. You'll definitely be able to either chat. You could live chat, or you could call them. You could create a case with them, or find some kind of articles. And they're available 24/7 for technical support. If you are having login issues, like you can't remember your password, or you get locked out, then I would definitely suggest you contacting the IT department here at Caldwell University, and they'll be able to get you back into your Blackboard account by resetting your password. And then this bottom section right here, this is just information about the app that is available for students. Unfortunately, we don't have one that's equivalent for instructors yet. If you do download the app, you won't be able to make any edits to your courses. Okay, so besides this section, I want to show you the global navigation, which will be right here. It's where your name will appear. So when we click on that, right here, this white section is going to show you all the courses that you've recently visited. So this is everything that I've recently clicked on and have gone to. And then this is just, again, if you click on that, that's just, it provides an overview of the course activities that have been done. I have nothing there. This next one is posts. So this displays the most recent posts that have been done in a course. For me, a lot of these will be empty. But for you, if your students have made any posts, as you can see here, to discussion boards or journals or blogs, you could see what they've posted here. And then the second one are any updates that have occurred. You can see here, there's an update about needing help, but if you click on each you could see each course by name, and if there's been any announcements, with which mines don't have any, you'll be able to see them there. The retention center is a very useful tool, and it helps you discover which students in your course are at risk. So definitely you'll get to see, depending on the class that you select on, will give you an overview of what needs to be assessed for each student or for each class. And you could click on see more details, and it'll go into more specifics for you. And then before we leave this section, this is the calendar. So if you do have any assignments with due dates, you and as well as your students will be able to access the calendar, and you would see it marked here. You'll see like a little, depending on the color that's been assigned for your course, there'll be a little like purple or green bar, and it says assignment 1, and it'd be like on the day that it's due, so that people can keep track of their assignments or tests. So let's click back on the home button. This home button is always going to take you back to your home page, no matter on what screen that you're in. So you see, click on it, we're back home. And then one other fun little tidbit is that this little icon right here, that's actually a button. So if we click on it, it takes us back to the Caldwell website, as you can see here. Okay, so let's go into a course. So I'm going to select my practice course, and if you want, you can follow along and go into a course that you feel comfortable practicing in. So I'm going to go into here, which is my practice course. So before we get started with the different features that you could see here, one thing that I do want to emphasize is that I want you to make sure that this section where it says edit mode is, make sure that this says on. If this is off, you will not see all the tabs that I'm describing. So I'm going to click on off, and you're going to see that certain things disappear. So we're going to click on off, and you see how this changed very little, but it changed enough where I cannot make edits to anything. I could go into all these different sections, but for the most part, I cannot create a new announcement or anything like that. So if you feel like you're missing toolbar, make sure this is on. And you see I have it on, and now I could create a new announcement, and there's more tools that are available for me. So for my own practice course, I made my entry point to be the announcement page, but your entry point might look a little different, and that's totally fine. But you could click on announcements, and it'll take you to your announcement page. Depending on your course, this might be empty, or you might have something there. If it's empty, you could definitely create a new announcement. So let's click on create announcement, and we could create one. Hello everyone. And you could write, whatever announcement you want your students to see. Okay. You do not need to put any date restrictions after you put your kind of message that you're writing. I would say just leave it at no date restricted. If this is an important announcement that you want your students to know about immediately, there's this cool feature that says email announcements. If you select this, the second that you click submit, your students will get an email that tells them exactly what this announcement says. Another fun little thing is if you're ever trying to reference a section like in your course, let's say it's like, don't forget to take the test that's due by Friday. If you want to add a way for your students to look at the announcements and then just click on a link to that specific assignment, like this test that I'm referring to, under this course link section, you could click on browse, and you're going to see this is kind of like a copy of your menu panel. If I can make it bigger. Okay. and it'll open everything down for sections. So I have a unit 1 folder and I have a test 1, and that's the test I want to refer to. So when I click, I'm gonna just unselect that for now and click submit. It says, "Hello everyone. Don't forget to take the test that's due by Friday." And I've linked it right here. So when I click on it or a student clicks on it, it's gonna directly take them to start that test, as you could see here. And I feel like that's a very good feature. Sometimes students will forget where to find certain things, and that's something that will be very helpful for them. Okay, so let's move on to look at different things that are here available for you. I want to just go over this section right here on the left hand side. This is what we call our menu panel, and this is what you and your students are going to use to navigate throughout the course. So in the menu panel, there's different kinds of things that you can do. Definitely this plus sign lets you add more links. As you can see, I have a couple of links here. There's a lot of links here that I have available. I would suggest keeping the menu panel as small as possible. That way when the students click into content, they'll be able to see everything in that section as opposed to having to click on different parts that is available in the menu panel. So when we click on a content area, I'm going to say that the content area is an area where you could start adding course materials. That would be assignments or folders, files, web links. That's a good area to create all of those things. And let's create one real quick. So this is, I'm going to name it new content area. And if you want your students to see this content area right away, I would suggest you clicking on the make it available to users. Otherwise, if we do not click on it and we click submit, you see it appears at the very bottom of your menu panel. And it has this little extra box with this line. And as you can see when you hover over it, it says this link is hidden from students. So you can definitely, in your edit mode, make all the changes you want inside that content area, which right now is empty because we just created it. And you could definitely work in this section, but your students don't have access to it yet until you make it available. And the way to make it available is that you see this gray circle with a downward arrow. That is a drop down menu, and you could click on show link. So now that little slash and extra box disappeared, and now this is available to students for them to access and see. Another thing that we could create here, it's very useful, is a tool link. Sometimes if you want to create more sections like I have here, you could definitely click on a tool link, click on add a tool link, and these are the types of tool links that are accessible to add. So let's say you do not have your discussion board section displayed on your menu panel, you could definitely add it. You could click on discussion board. Just to stay practical, I would say name it exactly what type it is. So there's a discussion board, I could just label it discussion. And again, I would make it available to students. And then that would take them to the discussion board here. But I just want to show you that there's a lot of different things that you're able to add. You could look through all of these and see what would be more useful for you. But I believe that the discussion board is not a link that is usually presented at first. So that's something, if you're going to use a discussion board, I would definitely add to the menu link. Okay, so another important feature besides the content area and a tool link is a web link. And you could add a URL that your students will be frequently, most often. Would that be like a reference center from the library, or how-to guide on how to write a paper? You could definitely add that to your menu panel if your students will be accessing it quite frequently. So we would go click on that plus sign that's on the top left corner, and then click on web link. You want to give it a meaningful name. So for practice right now, I'm just gonna add the Caldwell website. And I've already copied the URL. Okay. Sometimes right after you click on that, this button will not be accessible, but just click on name again, put a space, delete it, and you'll see that button is clickable now. You want to make sure you always select the make available to users and click submit. And then before you even try to test that link out, I would suggest clicking on that gray circle and selecting set link to open in a new window. This is going to make it so that your link works without any problems. So now when I click on this, that should have worked. If this happens, it's because it's set to open within Blackboard, and that is something that we do not want. So if you click on that home button, it takes you back here. Okay, you see when I clicked on it, it should open a new window like this. And that way it's easier for your students to access the website in the format that it should be in. Okay, and if we go back up here, I just want to show you one other thing, which is a course link. And a course link is a direct link to a material that may be found somewhere else in your course, like a folder or a file found inside one of your units. So we're going to click on course link. And again, this is something that, let's say you have a specific folder that has examples of a final paper that your students have to write. Instead of having them try to find it in the different folders that you may have available, you could give them an easier access to it. So you could click on browse, and again, this is going to open a new window for you. I'm just going to make it a little bigger and to see the name of everything. I'm going to click on assignments, and it already has the name there set for you. You want to make it available to users, submit. So now when your students click on this, it takes them directly to that assignment section. And right here I just have a couple of test videos that I was playing around with. So as you can see, every time I make something new, it just gets created here at the bottom. But if you do not want it to be there, you could definitely move it around. And if you hover over to the left, you'll see your cursor changes. And I could definitely like drag that up and put this somewhere where it'll be better organized. And if you have, you made some mistake, you could definitely click on delete and delete the item. I had a bunch of Codwell websites that I've created previously, so I'm just going to delete those. And it might be a little tedious, but it gets rid of a couple of things here because, like I said again, you do not want your menu panel to be so long that it'll just distract your students from like what areas they actually need to get into. The shorter your menu panel, the better, is what I've noticed. And if you ever want to hide a section, let's say, where did I put it? The new contents area. This is a section that I'm going to be developing while the course is live, let's say. I could always click on the downward arrow and then hide this link. And now you see this little extra button right here means that it's hidden from my students. And if you ever want to get these little like line dividers, you could definitely do that by clicking on divider. At the bottom you see I have an extra line, and I could definitely just move this around to section things off if I want to give a certain part of my menu panel a header. Like, let's label it coursework, I've created that, and now I have this header, and I could move it and put it in a section, let's say right here. So this I know is the coursework section. Your students will be able to identify why it's divided into different sections. And that's just, if you want to organize your menu panel, you could definitely do that. And now what I want to show you is that, so I just want to show you that once you've done all of that, if you ever want to test out exactly how your students are seeing things, there's this cool feature that we have, and it's the student preview. And you'll find it at the top of the page. It looks like an eyeball to me. So you're going to click on that, and we're entering the student preview. And it's going to have this orange banner here, and it's going to tell you that you're in the student preview mode, so that if you see that there are certain things missing here, as you can see, this menu panel was much longer, and there was, each section, each divider, there was items in between them, and as you can see here, there's an empty space for things that your students are not seeing. It's definitely like if your students are saying, I can't see an assignment, it disappeared on my end, you could definitely, see if they're lying or not by going into the student preview section and, just clicking on the area and seeing, like, hey, did that really disappear for them or anything like that. If you want to test it out, if you ever want to test out how something might download or might appear, the student preview is the way to go. So I'm going to exit. Okay, so when you exit, you could read through this, definitely. I'm just going to give you a very quick read this to you. Delete the preview user and all data is recommended. Definitely, I would say always keep this on. Otherwise, if let's say you tested out how to submit an assignment for some particular reason, you've submitted something, your student preview mode creates a user in your grade center. And if you want to make sure that whatever attempts to a test or a quiz or an assignment that you've made does not get saved into your grade center, you want to click on delete. If you for some reason want to keep whatever submissions you've made, you'll select on keep the preview user and all data. And this explains as to what that does. But I would say just keep it to as the recommended option. You're going to click continue. It's going to refresh the page for you. You see that disappears, that orange banner that was once there. And as you can see right now, my practice course is very, very generic. So it's all white. There's no customization to it at all. But if you do want to customize your page, make it a little bit more colorful, pick a theme, you want to go into the control panel, which is right here at the bottom of your menu panel. And we are going to go under, let me see, customization. And we're going to click on teaching styles. So this section that says select course structure, I would say keep as is. Otherwise, you could go through these and they'll tell you what it'll add to your menu panel. If you feel like any of these are more suitable for the way that you'll be teaching your class, then you could definitely go ahead and select this structure that they have already provided for you. Otherwise, you just keep whatever work that you've already made here. Beneath that is where you select an entry point. So I've done the announcements, but you could select something else. That could be the contents area, discussion boards, or if you have information area. These are all areas that are found on your menu panel, and they're only particular areas. You see, it shouldn't be a website, and it shouldn't be something that's not within Blackboard. Otherwise, you'll get an error message. So I'm just going to leave it as announcements for myself. And under that, you have a course theme, so you could definitely select something a little bit more fun for your class. Let me see what I would like for right now. As you can see, there's like a lot to pick from. I'm gonna click this confetti for now, and as you can see, it changes like the color of stuff. But if you do not want to click, sorry, if you don't want to click on any of those themes, you could definitely customize things, selecting a different color for the text or something like that. But for now, I feel like it's easier if you just click a theme, and that's already pre-made for you. It makes things a lot easier. If you have some kind of banner that you want to add, some kind of like fun image that will appear at the top of the page, you could definitely click on browse my computer and select that image. I would recommend giving it in alt text, and that just means that, you know, if someone hovers over that picture, this little text box will appear, and it says, let's say if I put the Codroll logo at the top of my page, I would put Codroll logo, and that just identifies what that picture is. I'm gonna click submit to save my changes, and as you can see, my font has changed color. Let's go to a different area that's maybe shorter. As you can see, like over here, the background has little confettis all over it, and it just looks nicer in my opinion. But that basically covers everything that the Essential 1 workshop offers. It's just a very quick overview of how to use and navigate Blackboard. Okay, I hope you guys enjoyed this workshop. The next workshop will definitely go over how to create content in your course, and you could click on that video if you would want to watch it.